JoeTownville.com. JoeTownville.com.
Hello. Oh my goodness. What an episode we have for you tonight from the Star Trek canon. Oh boy. This one tonight is from Deep Space Nine. Did I get that right? Yes. Deep Space Nine. It's called In the Pale Moonlight. It is one of my favorite episodes. I hope it's one of yours as well. And we're going to find out if the other crew members here on the old SB-80 feel the same way. Hey, let's get started. It's time for Retro Trekkers.
Oh, Retro Trekkers. Get down with the Retro Trekkers. Captain John and Commander Joe. Retro Trekkers. We love our Star Trek. Retro Trekkers. The nerd muscles get to flex. Retro Trekkers. Get down with the Retro Trekkers. Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. Oh my goodness, what an episode this one is. And, of course, I don't do this show alone. Oh, no, I absolutely do not. First off, have you met the best damn second officer in the whole damn fleet? Why, it's Commander Joe Townsend. Commander Townsend, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Captain John. Tonight, more than most, I feel compelled to really wish everybody to live long and prosper because, as you've alluded to, this is one of the darkest episodes of all of Star Trek, and we're going to be getting into that with the next member of our crew. I'll let you introduce him, of course, our CPO.
Our Chief Pettiness Officer from way down below decks, CPO Kramer.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You finished chatting amongst yourselves up there?
Yeah, we've already gone over all the trade secrets.
Yeah, no, we're hanging out here. We're having long, luxurious baths in the water of respect that we all get down here.
This is an episode that Joe and I have discussed many times, just as fans and friends and pals. Now, Mr. Kramer, I think we have asked you if you'd ever seen this one before, but in typical cannabis user fashion, I can't remember your answer. Have you seen this one before?
Jesus Christ, we were supposed to watch this week? Holy crap. I was watching episodes of Landman. What is this?
Landman.
Pale Moonlight. Okay. I'm assuming it's about Kardashians and Moonlight.
Oh,
Sure.
We're going to catch you up. Oh, we will catch you up, sir. Absolutely. Let's get started, shall we? Our first segment, of course, Genesis, in which I give you the tale of the tape, as they used to say. So this is, of course, from Deep Space Nine. This episode is from the 6th season. It is the 19th episode. Teleplay by Michael Taylor, based on a story crafted by Peter Allen Fields. It was directed by Victor Lobel. And it is a big part, of course, of the Dominion War storyline on Deep Space Nine, which is a very big, sprawling storyline. So let me tell you what I've come up with in my notes here. Now, as a avid viewer personally of Deep Space Nine, I can tell you that at the end of the second season is the first inkling we get of the danger that's in the Gamma Quadrant, and it is related to the Dominion. The episode of season 2, the 26th episode called The Jem'Hadar, and then, of course, the 2-part season 3 episode that is called The Search. We become very aware that exploration is no longer the number one job at the wormhole, outside of Bajor, on Deep Space Nine. Now the job is defense because the Gamma Quadrant is striking back. We find out in The Adversary, which is the final episode of season 3, that the changelings are the threat and that they rule the Dominion. Then we find out in season 5, episode 15, By Inferno's Light is the name of that episode, Cardassia teams up with the Dominion. Things are getting very serious. There's a whole lot of, scary stuff going on. The war begins in, so that's season 5, last episode of season 5, called A Call to Arms, leads us into A Time to Stand, season 6, episode 1. Sisko and the crew mine the wormhole to block Dominion reinforcements, but the Dominion responds by seizing Deep Space Nine. So the Dominion that's already in the Alpha Quadrant is locking down and getting ready to go to war. The turning point of the war before this one happens in season 6, episode 5, and then the dominoes start falling very quickly. Sacrifice of Angels, Penumbra. It's a big mess. Oh, that's when the Breen join. And Rocks and Shoals, Sons and Daughters, The Sacrifice of Angels. These are all season 6 episodes that basically show us all of the loss and the beating that the Alpha Quadrant forces are taking, the Federation forces. And it is a big, ugly mess. Mr. Townsell, when you were watching these episodes week to week, how were you feeling about this war, this incredible wave of death and destruction coming through our normally shiny, happy Star Trek world?
Well, first, Captain, let me compliment you on that wonderful summary of the Dominion War. That was excellent. Really got us up to speed, which is pretty necessary because at this point we are well within Star Trek's first attempts at serialized storytelling, which would become the norm in newer Trek, of course.
Right.
But this was still a new place back then. Yes, and you're right. I mean, I think the gradual nature, going all the way back to season 2, as you mentioned, up until this point and beyond, was really effective. I mean, you feel the dread building. It wasn't just some, instant boom and then we're moving beyond it. I mean, a perfect example is during the duration, Nog, a mischievous little Ferengi kid, and then by the time we're at this point, he's close to losing his leg as a Starfleet officer in the war. I mean, that's quite a change. That's just one of many examples.
At the same time, Sisko has gone from commander to captain, a wartime promotion. And he's also a big part of planning out the attacks. Eric, when you saw these episodes, were you seeing them at the time or did you see them later?
I saw them later. Can I just say Dominion isn't in Landman? So I think Landman was safe. So it wasn't as big a threat as I realized it was in the show I was supposed to watch. No, I mean, it's a great, like, it is what I liked about it was that all Star Trek always talked about wars past,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where we came from, whatever. And so this was this is an opportunity, to see how the Federation actually, functions under fire. Like what, and of course, why not? It can't always be, everybody, staying on their side of the neutral zone and everything else. So I think as far as storytelling goes, it's a great idea. I mean, it probably, helped make that show what it was.
I absolutely agree with that.
Because I think it elevates all the characters in it.
Well, may I add to Eric's comment there? I think this is important. And, this series of episodes, The Dominion War, most notably the one we're going to be looking at tonight, building on Eric's point just a bit. Oh, it's anti-Gene Roddenberry. This isn't Gene Roddenberry's vision. I call BS on that because these are people that we relate to. They have improved themselves as a species over the centuries. This is how they deal with a real crisis, with real tragedy. And I think it speaks very highly of the human spirit and makes us look at our best as far as how we handle it, despite the fact that there are some ethical choices along the way.
Interesting way to phrase it. But
Yes. Well, Mr. Townsend's very good at that. Visit joetownsend.com. He's an excellent writer.
should try writing something.
Now, speaking of Mr. Townsend, he always puts together the beats for us. So let's go to them. Let's embrace this storyline. It's time for the beat. Joe Townsend likes to break down all of the plot points for us. And
Not the downbeats, just the beats.
So here we go. Here is what Mr. Townsend has made for us this week.
Does the end justify the means, regardless of the damage to a man's soul? This is the dilemma that haunts Sisko as the Dominion War wages on. In this thought-provoking episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there seems to be no light at the end of this tunnel. It is murky and glows dimly in the pale moonlight.
Nice.
Sisko is dictating his personal log. It is as painful for us to watch as it is excruciating for the war-weary captain of Deep Space Nine and the USS Defiant. He is alone with his thoughts, which are laid bare to us, the audience. Every Friday morning for the past 3 months, I've posted the official list of Starfleet personnel killed, wounded, or missing in the war. It's become something of a grim ritual around here. Not a week goes by that someone doesn't find the name of a loved one, a friend, or an acquaintance on that damned list. I've grown to hate Fridays. Flashback to 2 weeks prior. As with most Fridays as of late, crew members including Worf, Dax, and Bashir spot the names of friends and colleagues on a casualty report, updated weekly. It is not becoming easier to recognize names on the list. Quite the opposite. The Cardassians are violating Romulan borders to attack the innocent civilians on Federation worlds. Amazingly and tragically, the Romulans refuse to break a non-aggression treaty and join the fight against the Dominion. It is reminiscent of the United States delaying its entry into World War II until forced to do so after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. The disappointment and frustration regarding the Romulans' neutrality is conveyed through the disgusted tone of Sisko as he narrates his personal log entry. He is determined to bring the Romulans into the war at any cost and through any means necessary. He is not alone in that goal, but is no less troubled by the man he is becoming in the process. Sisko and Dax have no doubt that the Romulans will take a side, their side, only after getting indisputable proof that their empire will be next to be conquered by the Dominion. Until that happens, it's not their war as far as the Romulans are concerned. Sisko convinces Garak to use his connections to find this proof on Cardassia, but it will take time. In the interim, the Dominion invade Beta Z, bringing the threat even closer to home. Worse, and most alarming, Garak reports that all the Cardassians he contacted have been assassinated by the Dominion, another threat to this subtle invasion wiped clean. Garak confirms that Sisko already fears and dreads. It will be necessary to manufacture evidence themselves. Evidence that no Romulan, no matter how docile, can ignore. The risks are enormous. If the plan doesn't work, the Federation may find itself fighting a devastating war on another front. Yet, despite his misgivings, Sisko has no hesitation. He agrees to take these next desperate steps. Garak suggests sending an invitation to Romulan Senator Vreenak. He is arguably the most inflexible supporter of the non-aggression treaty. He will be the Romulan official most difficult to convince. But if they can change his thoughts concerning the Romulan entry into the Dominion War, it will introduce a powerful new ally in the fight for freedom. The nature of the proposed ruse? Present Vreenak with a manufactured yet convincing evidence of a planned Dominion surprise attack against Romulus. If the senator is convinced, then his fellow senators will follow suit. How to create false evidence that won't backfire? Sisko and crew will rescue a counterfeiter named Graythan Tolar from a Klingon prison. And how to sell the authenticity of the fakery. They'll obtain a Cardassian data rod on which to put the false data. Sisko is not sure about this plan, not at all. The potential for disaster is very high. However, seeing little choice, Sisko agrees to Garak's plan, pending Starfleet approval. Sisko takes the lowlife Graythan Tolar into custody and has him brought to DS9. Sisko has played a little too close to the vest the reason for Tolar's presence on the station. Tolar manages to get close enough to Quark to stab him. Further violating his own morality and ethics, Sisko offers Quark a bribe to not file a criminal complaint. Tolar serves no purpose to Sisko and Garak's plan, sitting in Odo's holding cell. Quark is surprised at Sisko's uncharacteristic offer. Then the Ferengi recalls Rule of Acquisition number 98. Every man has his price. Sisko has no choice to agree. He has to acknowledge his own price, the one he is now actually paying. He wonders, not for the last time, what has he become? To purchase the data rod, Sisko must make Bashir another accomplice. Despite the Doctor's fervent objection, Sisko orders him to hand over 85 liters of biometric gel, a dangerous and volatile substance that will be used as a bargaining chip. Despite the ethical speed bumps along the way, the plan begins to take shape. Tolar produces a convincing fake briefing between Weyoun and Damar, during which they plan a surprise attack on Romulus. Sisko is satisfied with the results and orders it uploaded onto the data rod. Romulan Senator Vreenak arrives on Deep Space Nine. His opinion remains firm. His belief that war against the Dominion is a lost cause. As such, the falsified data is extremely vital. Sisko believes that millions, possibly billions, of lives depend on Romulan entry into the war. Garak goes into stealth mode and inspects Renak's ship. Sisko shows Renak the fake recording. The skeptical senator insists on inspecting the data rod further before making his decision. Sisko knows the fate of the Alpha Quadrant rests on whether Renak is successfully duped. The captain wrings his hands, awaiting the result of Renak's deliberation. The Romulan senator confronts Sisko. In a tone of voice that might be comical, if not so potentially tragic, Renak holds up the data rod and proclaims, "It's a fake!" The senator plans to tell everyone he can in the Alpha Quadrant about Sisko's attempt at deception. A loathsome lie that could have cost Romulan lives if it had been believed. Renak wastes no time departing the station to make good his threat. Sisko's worst fears are realized. He bent, even broke at times, his own morality and ethics. And it was all for nothing. Any hope to convince the Romulans to fight alongside the other powers in the Alpha Quadrant are now dashed. Another Friday. Sisko posts the weekly casualty reports. Worf comes in to report one specific fatality. Romulan Senator Renak. His shuttle exploded shortly after departure. Sisko knows the cause. Garak planted a bomb on the senator's ship while it was docked at DS9. Sisko is furious, not just at Garak, but at himself for co-conspiring with the duplicitous Cardassian in the first place. He should have realized that Garak would take extreme measures when he had access to Renak's shuttle. In his private thoughts, Sisko wonders if he would have looked the other way, even if he knew what Garak was planning. Sisko storms over to Garak's tailor shop and punches him with all the force his rage can muster. But it neither relieves his anger or clears his conscience. Garak calms Sisko down sufficiently to explain his rationale and justification. The bombing of Renak's shuttle, with the data rod in Renak's possession, will look like a Dominion assassination to erase the evidence of the fictional surprise attack on Romulus. The damage to the rod will neutralize and hide all imperfections that originally revealed the data to be fake. Garak also implies that he killed Tolar to cover their tracks completely. It was cool, a cunning, and a calculated plan, and it worked. Garak argues to Sisko that they have given the Alpha Quadrant a fighting chance. The small cost? One Romulan senator and one small-time crook. And Sisko's ethics, of course. Garak sees it as a great victory and at a bargain price. The aftermath. Sisko is closing his personal log, offering justification for his actions and inactions for the greater good. As he has done throughout this story, he is breaking the fourth wall, talking directly to us. Is he trying to convince himself, us, or both? Ultimately, does the end justify the means? Is there any other result that is acceptable in war? Sisko may be in store for some sleepless nights for a time, but that will pass, as all things tend to do. Yet it seems that he hasn't quite persuaded himself. Has he convinced us whether his actions are justified? That is our individual choice to make. He is more reflective in this moment. With less self-conviction, he assures himself and us that he can live with his decisions. He has no choice. In a minute, the incident will live on only in the collective conscience of Sisko and Garak, and possibly in the suspicions of Sisko's crew as unwitting accomplices. Sisko makes his final choice in the matter. He orders the complete erasure of his self-incriminating personal log. Computer off.
Good beats, Joe.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good beats. Well, you know what that leads to. Let's get down and dirty. So let's talk about it. There's a question I wanted to ask immediately of Eric.
Yeah. By the way, the most hilarious beats I've ever heard.
I really went for
Laughed
the figure on
a
that.
minute. I almost had to go to the bathroom for fear of wetting myself. Like, to find the humor in the Dominion War.
Eric, if I have tickled your funny bone, I am a man for please. Thank you, sir.
Solid work on the beats, by the way. Solid work on the beats.
I appreciate it for me both. Thank you very much.
What 100% agree. Eric, one of the things that I was struck by when I first saw this, and I think my brain was like, just move on. It bothers me, but I'm just going to move on. But every time I've watched it since, and I have watched it a few times, is it jarring to you that he is speaking to the camera for like 99% of his work?
Fucking hated it. Fucking hated it. I love the story.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how much I fucking hate that choice.
It's a really interesting choice. And Joe does bring up the question, I think. Is this a point in the series where they said, let's talk to the viewers and let's confront them? Let's accost them with this reality and this choice. Do you think that's what the director was going for here? I mean, obviously the producers had to agree to it, so they were behind it as well.
There's one aspect, and I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but Eric, please pick up after this. But the one thing you might consider in answering this question fully is, and I didn't address this in the beats, but you'll notice also that Sisko throughout the episode, throughout his personal log, gradually sheds portions of his uniform, essentially bearing his soul.
Oh, right over my head.
So
I didn't even notice
with that element in mind, maybe that makes the choice to speak directly to the camera a little bit more palatable and appropriate.
Yeah. What do you think, Kramer?
No, wrong. So I am the chief petty officer.
Yes,
so
you
here
are.
we go. I hate the choice. Absolutely hate the choice because it's such a strong story. Because it's such, it's a great story choice. If you have to explain something instead of showing it, it's a problem. And you know what? It takes you out of the flow. It takes you completely out of his descent in his dissent against his own morals. All you want to do is watch a storyline like that. You just want to watch it happen to him. The last thing you need to see, because it also starts off, the end is the beginning.
Right. It starts 2 weeks ago.
And he's obviously fine. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like he's obviously okay. Matter of fact, he's having a drink.
Right.
And he is explaining it in a way that's a little too matter of fact. You know what you want to watch is you want to see the idea sort of come to light, and then you want to see him betray everything that he believes in, getting to what ultimately is a just cause. Right? So play it, don't comment on it. Like it's one thing to see a scene where you see him, Like you see him deal with a decision, like, should I call him out on it? And then you cut to him in front of the camera going, maybe I should have called him out on it. You know, play it, just play it in the scene. Let this, I think you take away from the strength of the story when you do something like that. And what it does is you sort of lose, in a weird way. You can shut me up at any time here, but you lose what's at stake. Do you know what I mean? Because you have him in his room after it's all over, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
obviously, you know, nothing has backfired and the station has been taken over. It's sort of like everything's fucking fine. As a matter of fact, throughout the whole episode, everybody's like, here's the list of the newly dead. Oh, Steve went. Yeah, Steve. Remember Steve? Yeah. Steve went. Oh, that's a shame. Okay. You know, like,
I did not see that.
it's like, it's, you know, it's fucking war. It's possible annihilation. So you want to see, you want, I would have loved to have seen all of that heightened. By the way, not a comment on whatever, but I think constantly cutting back to him took away the urgency, the immediacy, because you sort of know, I mean, you know, in the back of your head anyway, it's Deep Space Nine, and you know, it's not going to get blown up, or these guys aren't going to get taken out. But at the same time, you want to get caught up enough in that story that you go, oh my God, is he going to do it?
Right.
Oh my God, what happens? I'd rather watch him struggle with it than comment on it after the fact.
That's interesting. I do definitely see that he makes the move, then he thinks about it. He asks Garak, you know, what should we do? And Garak tells him, and then he thinks about it. Joe, how do you feel about this? Do you feel the storytelling was hamstrung by breaking the fourth wall and having the framing sequence of the narration, confession? How do you?
I don't have a problem with breaking the fourth wall. I do agree with Eric that it might have possibly been even more effective if we just saw the story unfold in a more linear fashion, you know, A to Z.
Right.
I touched on this last week when we were promoting this episode, and I'll repeat it here. You know, back in the original series, you know, we had the Enterprise incident where Kirk stole the Romulan cloaking device, and there was a brief discussion apparently of like, we're going to have Kirk question that. We're going to have him question that decision. Is it ethical? And wouldn't that have been even more interesting? Especially at the time, at the height of the Vietnam War, for goodness sake.
Right.
But they didn't do it. They went safe. And at least this one took a huge stride forward in that thinking, in the way of conveying Sisko's regrets and emotion. And I want to comment on one thing while I'm thinking of it. You know, the best Star Trek, and this is definitely among the best Star Trek, despite potential flaws. I mean, 30 years ago this was made, and it's still contemporary. I mean, the thing I thought about, especially rewatching, you know, the beats, is the whole America first thing. Romulans first. That's what they're fighting.
Yes, there's an isolationism
Exactly.
to the Romulans. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's isolationism, but it's also the Romulans are sitting back going, yeah, you know what? If they get their asses kicked, that works for us.
Of course.
You know
that's
like,
part
no,
of the.
It's actually more than isolationism. It's a little fucking evil. Like,
of course, the whole short-sightedness there is that now you're going to have the entire Alpha Quadrant against you after the Dominion takes it over, theoretically. So,
Right. There were things in the conversation between. Actually, I liked all the conversations in this one, even the pointless ones. But the conversation between Sisko and it's fake, the senator there. He does mention, you know, we may be more than cold warriors. And I love that throwback to how Federation versus Romulus has been a Cold War the whole time. And that to me was such a, you know, we're addressing it. We're saying it. There's some other great comments from the chat. Scott says, respectfully disagree with Mr. Kramer. Without the cutbacks to Sisko's introspection, then it would just be another espionage story. And I'll add that to, he's talking to himself. He's weighing, can he live with his choices? And Mike says, also, his articulating his self-doubt in his monologue to aid the narrative is cheap. He's already answered the justification question to himself. So why hem and haw just to seemingly make us feel it? Yeah, I got to go with you guys on that one, because it's a, here's the thing. Logistically, in terms of storytelling, which both of you guys are very good at, he's got no one he can talk to. He's not going to have this conversation with Jake. He's not going to have this conversation with his girlfriend. He's not going to have this conversation with anyone on his crew, even the old man, that hot model. And it is weird to me. It always made me uncomfortable that he was talking directly to me. Like, bro, I'm not part of this. You tell me the story.
Yeah, it suddenly, what it does is it makes look, we all know the space station isn't fucking real, but it really does.
It's not?
It really does make the space station not fucking real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Suddenly we're in a Shakespeare play.
And that is an amazing call, because I feel like that's where they were really pushing Sisko in this, and frankly, pushing Avery Brooks. That's so funny, because I was going to mention that this is the Hamlet, should I?
But it is, it is that story. So I have a solution. I have a solution to this whole introspective thing. So lose all the shit during the show. Just watch him descend into that. And then the final scene, after it's all over, he's in a bar fucking talking to somebody. Right? And then you get that great little, I can live with it.
Yeah.
Speech. He's not talking to the fucking camera. He's talking to somebody off camera.
Yeah.
And then you pull back and you find that he's in some bar talking to some other guy. He's like, I can fucking live with it. I can live with it. Holodeck canceled program. Ba-boom. Erase. And then it's just him alone in the holodeck. And then he fucking walks out to face the rest of his life after making this choice, right?
I
like that. I like that a lot.
The only thing I would change is that you could have it actually be in real time, not the holodeck. Sisko could be talking to Morn. Morn's not going to say anything because he never talks.
Morn! Oh my God! Oh my God! He could have talked to Morn.
Except my holodeck idea isolates him.
It does. Right?
No, obviously I'm kidding. No, that's a good
him
point.
Completely alone in this.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is it would be far more interesting to watch him descend into that. Like, and then you have that moment of who the fuck is he talking to? Why the fuck is he sharing this?
Right? If I was part of the writing staff,
did he crack? Is this the fucking end of it?
If I was part of the writing staff, I would have the guy he was talking to. Turns out that guy's already been killed, and he only exists in this holodeck.
Some friend of his that died in battle, right?
That appeared on the casualty list.
That appeared on the casualty list, which you could have shown in the first casualty list when everybody was like, "Oh fuck, Steve's gone." Oh, but then he walks up and all you have to do is just show the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Cut to his fucking reaction.
Yeah.
And then the wheels start going into motion, right? Then it's like, fuck, we need to. And then at the end, he's in the holodeck, and we find out that like he steps up, right? And then I don't know, fucking name tag something. But you find out it's that guy.
I mean,
and then he cancels the holodeck program.
Yeah.
fucking erase,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
then
like
he's just
that.
all alone. He's all alone, and he walks out the fucking door. Jesus Christ, give me a residual.
What I like about this this episode period is it plays into something that we would never get from Jean-Luc Picard. Maybe we would get it from Captain Janeway, which is this is yet another brick in the wall for Captain Sisko will go badass when he has to. And I don't remember the name of the episode, and I'm having a hard time even remembering the name of the officer. So when the war was going on, they had an officer early on, and that guy turns out to be a Maquis spy. Do you remember that guy? He was the actor who was in Krull. I don't know.
And you're referring, of course, to Sisko's
That
buddy.
helps. Thanks.
What's that, Joe?
I was going to say you're referring, I think, to Sisko's good friend, who was a captain, and he was revealed to be a Maquis. Is that right?
There was a blonde guy who served on
Oh.
DS9 for a little while. Maybe somebody could look it up for me. I'd be Eddington. Thank you,
Eddington, of
Buck.
course. Yeah.
Eddington. So Eddington, I don't know if anybody has this episode on the top of their minds, but it is one of my favorites. Eddington, it becomes clear that he's squaring off with Sisko, and he sees himself. We have a phrase for it now, main character syndrome.
Mm.
Eddington sees himself as a hero. So he sees Sisko as a villain. So every time he puts Sisko in a situation where Sisko doesn't know what to do, and it happens often, Sisko's like, I've got to find a way to address this guy. I've got to find a way to manipulate this guy because he's beating me. He's manipulating me. And so what Sisko ends up doing is he ends up threatening innocent people and forcing Eddington to sacrifice himself to protect innocent people. It's sickening that Sisko did this, but he did it, and I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite other storylines where Sisko's like, oh, I've got to be the bad guy in order to win this. Okay, I'll do it. It's not pretty, but I'll do it.
Well, and John, you're right, too, in the sense that, Picard never, because it just wasn't that type of show. Didn't have those kind of issues. Janeway, yes, and we saw an example of where she might have gone down the dark path when we saw Equinox, where they encountered the Equinox with Captain Ransom, and they were having a tough time. They really bent their morality to the point of killing creatures for fuel. Right. So, yes, I mean, pushed up against the wall, people are capable of a lot. The thing here is that Sisko was pushed against the wall every single day for years.
Right. Yeah. It's another sort of behind the scenes thing that I've always found is that Avery Brooks himself likes playing villains.
Mm-hmm.
So in Facets, when they go through all of the previous incarnations of Dax, it's Sisko who's the psycho. I'm trying to remember. Oh, and we still have to watch it. We will watch it. Our Man Bashir, which is a James Bond story starring Julian Bashir, the villain, the eye patch, evil villain, is played by Avery Brooks. And again, he chews every piece of scenery, and it's glorious. So I love that.
Well, and Hawk, although not a hero, but on Spencer for Hire, I mean, he was a tough mother. Shut my mouth,
And I've said this, I've only read 7 books in my life. One of them was The Judas Goat, which was a Spencer for Hire novel, and really good. And yeah, Hawk is completely amoral. Hawk is his own thing. He doesn't follow anybody else's code of conduct. He only follows his own. So Avery Brooks, a great guy for that.
Well, we all know how happy he was when he was able to look like Hawk again on Deep Space Nine.
Are there any other pieces of this episode anybody wants to break down before we move on to our MVPs? No?
There's probably more comments to come, but we can move on as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry to step on you there, Mr. Townsend.
No.
I have to say, I had a hard time picking an MVP in this one because I liked the supporting cast a lot. I felt even like the tiniest roles. Armin Shimmerman, as you know, I don't love Quark nearly as much as I love the man who plays him, Armin Shimmerman. His little scene is so delightful because he does see Sisko bending his own rules and he digs it. And he takes advantage of the whole thing too. He's like, I just feel like they didn't use the line of like, I want 5 pieces of gold pressed platinum. Okay. I should ask for more. But,
almost makes you wonder if he got stabbed on purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I also love it. He's like,
oh, they even
and you
make
have
the
to
comment in a, like he did something he would never do. Well, if there was something in it for him.
That's the thing. This was oddly brave for him, but I guess he is the guy who sticks up for his girls because he gets her new clothes too. I want you to replace my clothes and hers too. But so I don't know. That might be my MVP. Eric, you got an MVP in this episode?
Billy Bob Thornton. Amazing when he's talking about everything that needs to go into the windmills and how that's actually more expensive than oil. Absolutely. Really great speech. Solid. I will, you know what? I think I may go Shimmerman too on this because it was just like, it was just like this honest, great, like little performance, like this little clip, but so completely that character. And so,
yeah. A
like,
guy he's oblivious to this whole plot. He's got his one little thing.
Yeah.
And he nails it.
Yeah. And it's out of everything. Like that's the one scene to me that really stood out,
Yeah.
Was that sort of, and he was so smooth about it too, just asking what he wanted. He already knew, like in the top of his head, right? Like, yeah.
Shimmerman really does make everything better. And yeah, actually Avery Brooks is an excellent, I agree with Puck on this one. Excellent guy to have played Hawk. Joe, how about your MVP on this one? Because
to me, I'm surprised neither one of you thought of this one. Although I do think that Quark is an inspired choice, and Armin Shimmerman. Listen, once he's unleashed, once he's unchained, Garak gets it done, and boy, did he get it done with
this is a great Garak episode. And as time goes on, I realize there are no bad Garak episodes.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, listen, Sisko failed. Garak dug it out of the ashes to make it work.
Yes. Well, because that's just Garak being Garak.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that as long as he did what he did the super underhanded spy stuff. And as long as he did that, he was 99% sure they were going to be able to succeed. But he also knew only he could do it. He couldn't ask permission. He couldn't propose it. And I agree with Scott, actually. Terry Farrell's role playing in the debate as the Romulan.
Yeah.
Some of her best work. And she's done a few good things, but I'm one of those people who is really kind of, I know she's apologized for it and she never should have, but for her, she would say that in the pilot episode of Deep Space Nine, she was terrible because it was like her second acting job or like her first acting job.
Yeah.
She'd been a model, and she wasn't sure how to play this old soul. Which is so funny that and the character of Sally on Third Rock from the Sun are like, hey, you're a tall, beautiful model. Play this old man.
Hey, Jerry Ryan never made apologies. Neither should Terry Farrell.
And they all bear it out. Like they all ended up being really good actors. I like this. I like this line too. Easier to beg forgiveness than seek permission.
Yep.
I mean,
That's
that is
good wisdom there.
big lesson out of this episode. All right, everybody cover their MVPs because we're in the perfect catbird seat. Let's get to trivia in Townsall's tidbits.
Why not?
Who's going to display his tidbits now for all the world to see?
Well, as always, we've got a few. And of course, gentlemen, I invite you to contribute any may occur to you or you already have. In the pale moonlight, does this have anything to do with the Joker line in Batman? Yes, indeed. Ronald D. Moore said he took it straight from the Michael Keaton Batman. So its meaning escapes me, but it's a good title, so why not, right?
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Exactly.
And that's what he's done. He's made a bargain with the devil. He's made a bargain with evil. And I like that. I mean, I think that that's the thing that makes this episode something. It's not just another episode of sci-fi TV. It's actually a really interesting argument about morals and ethics. And, to be very specific to what Garak says at the end, what it cost you was your self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. Ouch. In the Pale Moonlight is a fantastic title. And I wondered if it was, because every once in a while you'll hear these lines, you'll be like, did that line start there? In the Pale Moonlight, did that start in the movie Batman? It's like, I remember watching Matlock as a kid, and at one point he says to someone, revenge is a dish best served cold. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, isn't that from like Star Trek 3? It's from 2?
That was Khan's line, yes.
That was Wrath of Khan.
Klingon proverb in that movie.
That's right. Or is it like the Klingon proverb?
Which Quentin Tarantino, of course, attributed later to as an old Klingon proverb when he put it on screen.
I forgot about that.
And you know what? If you're gonna pay homage to a great line from a movie, this was a good one. And you know what? It could have been a lot worse. They could have called it like, I don't know, Faith of the Heart. Okay.
I like Sauter's question. Does this put Gotham City canonically in the Trek universe? Canonically in the Trek universe. Oh, all right. Puck says, so what's worse, Sisko's plan that gets a Romulan senator killed, or Section 31's plan to infect the founders with a pandemic? Oh, yeah. I mean, that becomes a huge deal later, that they're using bioweapons.
Or to use Hugh the Borg to infect the Borg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. They sent Hugh back. He infected the collective. Mm-hmm. Hey, Flobo, what's going on here?
There were two story changes, one of which would have changed it quite a bit. Another one, maybe not as much. I don't know how this would have played out. Maybe it would have gone a little bit more to what Eric was suggesting about the more of a linear nature, but somehow they were going to write this so that Jake was involved, and he was not making the decisions, but involved in the whole conspiracy, so to speak. So right. I don't know. That might have been interesting, but at the same time, I kind of helped thinking that maybe it was a better way to go with what they did.
I agree. I think the thing I read was they were talking about Jake as a reporter finding things out, right, like a Pentagon Papers kind of a deal, and that would put him in danger.
I don't think we need Jimmy Olsen in uncovering the conspiracy.
Oh my God, he's Space Jimmy Olsen. Raphael did some valuable research here. In one of his AOL chats, Ronald D. Moore's AOL chats are amazing. RDM specifically mentioned that the title was a reference to Batman. He was not aware of any previous use of the phrase pale moonlight. That's so cool.
Yeah, it works. The other story element that not I mean, not as significant, but I'm kind of glad they brought it down a peg.
Mm.
They wanted a known world to be invaded by the Dominion. They would have a real impact. And they were going to go for Vulcan for about 5 minutes.
Mm.
Have Vulcan invaded, but that they decided that was a little bit too much of a powerhouse. So they took it down a peg to Beta Z, which I think was the perfect choice.
It still hit.
Yes.
It still made me like, oh no, not Beta Z. Oh no, a bunch of dark-eyed, like I am feeling that maybe you are upset. Like
The only thing that would have driven away was like they brought Laxwana around, and just I mean, had her to go off on them.
Flobo Voice wants to know, has CPO Kramer been hitting the Gold's Gym simulation on the holodeck?
Yes,
Okay.
but only the smoothie bar part of it.
Stephen McHattie is he's the guy who played Senator Vreenak.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a terrific actor. I guess we did talk about him last week a little bit. He actually had a big splash. He's a Canadian. He comes from, am I saying this right? Antigonish, Nova Scotia.
It's got to be one of those.
He made a big mark playing James Dean.
Fucking Antigone, eh? Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, we don't get over to the mainland much over there, we Newfoundlanders, but we do like the Nova Scotians. He was in a made-for-TV movie about James Dean, and that's when he met Meg Foster, and they married, and they have since divorced.
Cool.
There is no such thing as love. Love does not exist.
Any other tidbits, Mr. Townsend?
I will give you two more. The Romulan shuttle, the first new Romulan craft we've seen since going way back to the Enemy or the Defector, one of those two. Anyway, all the way back in TNG season 3. So this has been a long time since, and it's a cool looking ship, by the way.
It was a great.
Yeah, it looked great. Actually, it looked.
And I like how it comes out. Comes into the bay like cloaked and
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that. No, it's like
that was a great choice. That was a great choice.
The elevator comes down and I'm like, what am I missing? What are they showing me that I'm not seeing? And then it decloaks and I'm like, oh, you guys are clever.
And I'm going to give all three of us a chance to do something in unison. There is a quote from this episode. We all know what it is, so get ready. And of course, not surprising. Over the years, it's been memed a million times. So are you ready on 3? 1, 2, 3. It's fake.
That's what they said when they were talking about Jerry Ryan's chest. Anyway, let's see. Puck says Batman may be part of the Star Trek universe, but Spider-Man definitely is. The punk on the bus from Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home shows up in one of the Spider-Man films. Oh, I forgot about that.
I mean, the actor or the character?
I think he's dressed as the character, like not as carefully dressed as when he was in Picard, or the season 2 of Picard, Picarder.
Right.
But
Picarder.
We we did a series when we reviewed series 2 of Picard, we called it Picarder. And then when Joe and I did series 3 of Picard, it was Picardist. So yeah, we're pretty funny fellows when we get the chance. All right, does anybody want to drag out any more relevant points or pieces of trivia or anything else about?
I'm glad we can end this one on a little bit of a laugh. It is a heavy episode to say the least, and I think if I say so, I think we all three of us covered it very well as far as the implications of these types of choices. And yeah, it's a great one, right up there at the top.
Would you put this one in your top 10 Star Treks, Eric Kramer?
Oh, that's interesting. I would put the story definitely as one of my top 10 Star Treks.
Oh,
I'm a chief petty officer. You think I'm gonna I'm going to give in and make this my top 10, my top 5. No, fuck that. He's fucking talking to the camera.
Mr. Townsend, would you put this, or anybody in the conversation, would you put this in your top 10? Because I definitely would.
I'll go a step further. And again, the method under which they conveyed, unfolded the story is debatable, and that's fine. The step further I'll take is I would put it in the top 5 of all Star Trek.
Wow. Oh, I think you place it higher than I do, which is impressive.
No, I will give. I think it's a bold story choice. I think it's really bold character choices.
Yes.
Which that's what you want to. That's what you want to see in storytelling. That's what you want to see in series television, right? You want to see you want to see who the fuck these characters are.
Yeah.
So for that alone, it's top 10 for sure.
Well, and in building on it, I mean, Sisko is a changed man during these events. He doesn't just recover the following week,
right?
Which is a shortcoming we've had in original series and TNG up to this point. I mean, next week they're okay. So.
Well, it's kind of nice knowing the order in which shows are going to be shown. You know what I mean?
Right. Flobo says, I call any sci-fi show that goes to the present day to save money on the budget the Star Trek Picard maneuver.
Oh, yeah, how right he is.
Yeah, when they end up in Canada, when they're in Ontario, they really came up short on the budget. Like, well, we seem to be in Ontario. Yeah, that's where you guys shoot the
lone
show.
CGI building to make it look futuristic.
We are going to torture Eric next week with next week's episode.
It's going to be a great one, Eric. You'll love it.
Jesus. You may remember this one, Flobo. This one is called and it contains at least one scary clown, but there's more. There's more scary clowns in it. And we will be talking about, when it comes down to the Voyager, this is one of my favorite episodes. The villain is played by Michael McKean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
He is so
God, I
good.
love him.
Yeah, Flobo hated
Can we have
this.
a moment of silence for George Wendt, please?
Yeah, George Wendt passed away today. Speaking of mourn, we are now mourning our Norm. Yeah.
R.I.P. God, it seems like a great. I never met him. Of course, I don't know if Eric. Well, Eric, you did because you.
Yeah. Just absolutely a great guy. I did a little write up on him on Instagram, but truly one of the nicest, warmest, most sincere, genuine human being. Like the guy that you would, and I say this about some people is that they are exactly who you would hope they would be when you meet them. He
was a Midwest guy. He was a Chicago guy. He was an improv guy. He was a Second City player. Very smart. I don't know if anyone ever remembers the movie Dreamscape.
Oh, yes.
Starring Dennis Quaid. He plays a really great, serious character. George Wendt does.
I'll have to check out the movie again.
He was somebody I always loved to see. It would make me really, really happy to see him. But he was also one of those guys, I think, who had to work to get people to forget Norm.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
if you want to forget Norm, if you have access,
I think we all wish we had that problem.
Yes, of course. I think you can find it on. I'm going to say Tubi, but search for it. Masters of Horror. There's an excellent episode starring George Wendt, and
oh my God, that's right. That's right.
He is not Norm in that.
Wow. I really have to check that out. That's the John Carpenter.
Yes.
Carpenter
And the famous directors and writers came in. It was only 12 episodes total, but he's in the best one. It's my favorite of that limited series.
He's also, my trivia soaked brain. He's also a significant character in the movie Space Truckers.
Oh,
where he plays like part man, part hog, and he anyway, it's hilarious.
Let's not forget Gung Ho while we're wrapping that up.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, that's right. Gung Ho. He was great in that.
Yeah.
As was Getty and that whole crew. That's a really fun movie.
And he's always fun in what he appears in. So absolutely, all right. And Eric, I envy you having been able to work with him, in the one episode.
Yeah, I don't want to give the impression like him and I were buddies because we.
No, I get it.
But the times that I've worked with him and met him, just fantastic guy. Fantastic.
There are really genuine people in show business, and he apparently was one of them. And
the creators of DS9 were very correct in basing Morn off his Cheers character.
Indeed. Hey, coming up on Thursday on Webo Mystery, I am finally going to play you an episode of Lights Out. It is one of the most beloved, one of the most celebrated horror series in the history of old time radio. And it stars Boris Karloff. We'll be listening to an episode called The Cat Wife, and he's fantastic. Boris Karloff, just absolutely nailing it. So that'll be Thursday night. Coming up on Sunday, I still haven't heard back, Joe.
Come on, Mario.
I still haven't heard back from LT Barone. So as in the great tradition of wrestling, card is subject to change.
Fair enough.
So maybe we won't get to work with LT Barone on this one, but he's a big friend of the show, so we're expecting to work with him at some point. But he's a very busy guy. He works really, really long hours. So, I'm not shocked we haven't heard from him yet, but we will find somebody for you. Hey, Flobo, are you still on the line?
Hey, there you go. And unless anybody's wondering, yes, this is what I look like right before I take my wig off, so.
Mean Joe Gene is what he called himself. Kramer. I said, I love you looking like Mean Gene. Mean Gene Okerlund.
There it is. Yeah.
Mean Gene Okerlund. He's like, oh yeah, that's me as Mean Joe Gene.
But I mean, what can you say about, big John Weber stud? Come on.
That was I had two requests. I said, please make LT Barone from Macho Man Randy Savage. Please have Miss Elizabeth in there, and I would like to be Big John Studd if I could.
There you go.
Which required no photoshopping. Oh, that's a picture of John right there.
We will be watching wrestling matches and calling them. That's what this show is going to be on Sunday. And if it works out, we'll keep doing it on some night. I don't know when. It won't replace any of the shows we're currently doing. And my gosh, that's pretty much it, fellas. Thanks so much for a great episode. Holy cow.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Did I put the outro up here? Oh, there it is. Okay. Thanks everybody. Does he have the thickest neck?
Yeah, look at that neck.
It's a pretty
That's
thick
a man's neck there.
Oh,
It's either that or no neck.
Raphael, there's no such thing as botch clips. Shame on you. Shame on you. Scott says I'm much more of a George the Animal Steel type myself. Oh, that would have been a great way to go to. Eating a delicious turnbuckle. All right. Well, as always, we run out of air in our lungs, and then it's time to end the show. And thanks everybody for your contributions. Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Thank you, Mr. Townsell.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
And let's get out of here.
Oh,
LLAP, you beautiful
retro
bastard.
trackers.
I can
Retro
dance.
trackers. Captain John and Commander Joe. Retro trackers. We love our Star Treks. Retro trackers. The nerd muscles get to flex. Retro trackers.
His pleasures unnamed, yes, it's Spider Hat. Sitting so pretty, way up on John's head. One move of his big spider arms, and brother, you're dead. Oh, Spider Hat, yes, it's Spider Hat. You can't escape his wrath. You're on his evil path. He's on you, his name